Good afternoon. This is Git Umlang again from Philippines, and I am reading Matthew 25, verse 14 to 30. This is New King James Version. Talks about the parable of the talents. For the kingdom of heaven is like a man traveling to a far country, who called his own servants and delivered his own goods to them. And to the one he gave 5 talents, to the other 2, and to another 1, to each according to his own ability. And immediately he went on a journey. Then he who had received the 5 talents went and traded with them, and made another 5 talents. Likewise, he who had received 2 gained 2 more also. But he who had received 1 went and dug into the ground and hid his Lord's money. After a long time, the Lord of those servants came and settled accounts with them. So he who had received 5 talents came and brought 5 other talents, saying, Lord, you delivered to me 5 talents, and look, I have gained 5 more talents beside them. His Lord said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You were faithful over few things, and I will make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of your Lord. And he also who had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, you delivered to me 2 talents. Look, I have gained 2 more talents beside them. And his Lord said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have faithful over few things, I will make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of the Lord. Then he who had 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you have not sown, and gathering where you have not scattered seed. And I was afraid, and went to hid your talent in the ground. Look, there you have what is yours. But his Lord answered to him, You wicked and lazy servant, you knew that I reaped where I have not sown, and gather where I have not scattered seed. So you ought have deposited my money with the bankers, and at my coming I would have received back my own with interest. So take the talent from him and give it to him who has the 10 talents. For to everyone who has more be given, he will have abundance. But him who does not have, even what he has been taken away, and cast the unprofitable servant into the outer darkness. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. The master divided the money among his servants according to their abilities, according to their capabilities. No one received more or less that he could handle. If he failed in his assignments, his excuse could not be that he was overwhelmed. Failure would indicate only laziness or hatred towards the master. The bags of gold represent of any kind of resources we are given. God gives us time, gifts, and other resources according to our abilities, and he expects us to invest them wisely until he returns. We are responsible to use well what God has given us. The issue is not how much we have, but how well we use what we have. Remember the story of Joseph dreamed, and he was a child who became the favorite of his dad amongst the brothers, but his brother hated him so much. So imagine, the younger years of Joseph. Then he was being sold twice, and later on in the house of Potiphar, God was so faithful of being with him, all the way of his life. And Potiphar noticed something different from him, and he became a manager. of Potiphar's household. But then he was tempted. He was accused, then he was in prison. And in jail, we know that Joseph was was faithful. Joseph did his best and have a good attitude, even with his situations. He never allowed any hopelessness in his heart. Though in reality, he may think, but I believe that he still, the faith that he has in the Lord and of who God is in his life, he stands with it. That's why he was being noticed also to the warden of the prison, and he became the administrator. And imagine how Joseph, continue to stand to make a difference whenever the Lord, lead him. Uh, Whatever situations he was being tested, my friend. So I have a questions. Are you facing a seemingly hopeless situations, either at work, at home, or at school? Follow Joseph's example by taking each small task and doing, your best. Remember how God turns Joseph's situations around. He will also, he will see your efforts and can reverse even overwhelming odds. Remember Joseph, he was 17 when he got this dream. But after a long years of waiting, 13 years, my friend, when the subject came, you know, uh, Joseph focused everyone's attentions only God. Those days when the when he was facing to the king to interpret the dream of the king, you know, instead of focusing on him, he looked unto God. He said, "It's not me who will do it, but it is God. It will be God." So rather than using the situations to make himself look good, he turned it into a powerful witness for the Lord. One secret, effective witnessing is to recognize opportunities to relate God to the other person's experience. When opportunity arises, we must have the courage to speak as Joseph did. So the main learnings that we can learn from the parable of talents is that, whatever God has given to you and me, we should be faithful and a good steward to it. And know that God is not looking, the how good you are, but God is looking at the heart, our attitude. If we have a good attitude, what God has given unto us, no matter small or big, if we have a good attitude to it, and our motivations is to glorify God, well, God would truly bless the works of our hands, whatever gifts and talents that you have. If you give it to the Lord fully, God will multiply. Remember in Romans 14:12, so then each of us shall give an account of himself to God. Good morning, and may God bless you.